wanna try it? So Alright.
Hey.
Hey, guys.
How are you doing?
Good. Oh. Well, cool. awesome. Well,
By the way,
I
brought my beer too.
Yes!
Here's to you.
We're keeping it comics.
Nice. It's like the virtual, cousin.
Oh man, this is...
Hey, welcome to a comic book look. Yeah, we're coming from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This is issue number 43 in the books. We can't wait to bring it back to you guys again. Thanks so much for coming back. You're watching at InveterateMediaJunkies.com, and we have a great show for you. A very, very cool creator we got an exclusive interview with today, and we're excited to talk with them about, comics in general, about his projects and what's going on. And our creator is Aaron Nelson, and he's recently had a graphic novel out called Marlow, and it was published by Arcana. And did I pronounce that right? Arcana?
Yeah, I mean, I think both work for me. I don't know. Sounds good.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Well,
that's
cool.
how I always said it.
Yeah, I just kind of...
Well, great. Well, hey, thanks for coming with us today, and we're excited. So, cool. First, tell us a little bit about yourself, what's going on, and a little bit about your book.
Yeah, sure, no. So, thanks so much for introducing me. Like you said, my name is Aaron Nelson. I am the writer and co-creator of the graphic novel Marlow, which was released probably about 4 to 6 weeks ago. We actually created the comic originally back in 2008 as a one-shot, like a 36-page one-shot. It did pretty well. Ain't It Cool News gave it a really great review, and the publisher basically came back and said, let's do a graphic novel. So after that, we decided to take that one-shot, build a complete story arc in the form of the graphic novel, and then rolled it out and published it just recently. So it's actually available through comic book stores, through Amazon, through Barnes & Noble. We have it online, we have it in print, and you can basically take a look if you're interested in checking it out. So.
Heck yeah! Well, that sounds awesome. I mean, I got to check it out, and I thought it was really cool, and I liked how it blended a whole bunch of different kind of things together, and almost like genres into this kind of still what is I'd probably still say basically horror. Zombies, you see about it all the time, and this would be what you would say a zombie book, but not like anything that, or any idea of going about zombies a certain way, of being able to be cured and having to, kind of like work for your, to become unzombified, and, how the struggles in between that. And I thought it was really just a cool way of bringing this nanotech with zombies, horror genre. It was very interesting.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was funny. I got when I was sort of thinking about the idea. And by the way, I worked with Dario Carrasco Jr., who is a great creator and an artist. He worked on Star Wars with Kevin J. Anderson back in the '90s. He did the artwork for the Star Wars series for Dark Horse. He also worked for Marvel and DC as well. And he's a great creator, a great thinker, a great storyteller, and we were really batting around the ideas behind how to do something in the zombie genre, but in a completely different way.
Totally.
And I actually based the story on Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, which is that story was told a long time ago. But the idea of having a main character who has this big revelation was a big part of that, and we were hoping to take the zombie genre and really turn it on its head, and do something completely different with it, which is what I think we accomplished with it.
Oh yeah, you totally did, because if you go into it and you think you're a zombie, you're going to think that there's just mindless zombies, and that's the end of it. And that's you know, it's almost just like this, you know, could be called something completely different, and you know, it would still totally make sense. I just thought it was awesome way to, you know, blend it all together. And you did talk a little bit there of Heart of Darkness, and you know, I actually hadn't. I'm no scholar. I actually hadn't heard of Heart of Darkness, but you know, after reading this, I went and looked it up on Wikipedia and stuff. And so, how did you? This book, it said that was like from the early 1900s. How did you pull the inspiration, or you know, get that? Was this a novel that you've always liked, or you know, how'd that go?
Yeah, you know, I don't know if it's a novel I've always liked. I mean, I think what I liked most about the novel was this. You know, when Conrad's writing a story, he writes it during the decline of the European empires, the decline of colonialism in Africa, and the idea is that the empire is crumbling. And I think when you look at a lot of 19th century literature, whether it's 19th century science fiction or kind of historical literature like that, it's a theme we kind of identify with. Not necessarily because Americans are an empire that's crumbling, but because we're seeing a lot of pressure right now around the world as Americans. I think that's something that politically we understand, and there's something analogous to that going on right now. And I love the idea of the narrative of having a character who at first is behind all of this, go in and have an experience and go, wait a second, you know, maybe we're the savages, right? Maybe we're, you know, this justification we're using to enslave the Africans based on the idea that they're savages, well, maybe we're the savages. Maybe we're the ones that should be applied to. And instead of saying that I'm an American, or instead of saying something political, I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do is take the reader and fans of zombie literature and go, you know, maybe the reason why we like zombies so much is because maybe we're the zombie. Maybe there's something about that is a metaphor that really appeals to us. And so when you take those sort of the standard Romero zombie, the zombie apocalypse, I think they're saying something about us. And that was really the notion behind that, if that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense.
That's the craziness behind my thinking, but that was sort of the idea behind it too. You know?
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, and I think it turned out really well. We do have more questions, but we lost video. Is there any way we could try to reconnect and get video?
Oh, you can't see me right now?
Yeah.
Good thing I'm naked.
Yeah. Our fans are going to be so disappointed we lost
it. I can
it.
try and reconnect. Yeah, hold on. You know I am showing video.
Yeah, I know. We can see our... I mean, I don't know why we don't see yours up, just your icon. So we'll...
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Awesome. All right. Sorry about that. All right.
Dude, that's a fun...
But anyway, okay. Well, you know that does make total sense, though. So, I think that, you know... Always bringing your story, your fun comic book that's, oh, it's so fun, this is comics, you know, we got art, and yeah. Look at these pictures, it's a picture book, but still having somewhere to, you know, kids don't read comics, you know, we read comics, and it's great to see that you have a little bit of deeper meaning that you can find, or, you know, just, you know, look at society in a different way through zombies, so.
Yeah, and I don't want to bum readers out either. I mean, it's still action adventure. It's still a fun story. There's that mission in Burma they go through where they have the pirate adventure. I mean, it's really supposed to be a pulp. I mean, this is supposed to be Pulp Fiction with some cool ideas behind it. You know what I'm saying? You know, Dario. Whenever I was writing Dario, I'd always say it was almost like, you know, George Lucas has a saying, faster, quicker, whatever. I mean, whenever he directs, just do it faster and quicker. And that's Dario's idea. It's like, just speed it up, Aaron. Go sitting around and philosophizing. You know, go kill some pirates. Just do that, and then we'll figure out the rest later. And it'll work. I'm glad he said that.
Totally.
You know?
Sometimes you do just need some violence to kind of get the action going a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying that I want all my comics that way or anything, but, you know, it is still comics, and it's fun that every once in a while to have some good old-fashioned pirating. And,
absolutely.
I enjoy it. So, how did you get hooked up with the artist here on this book? Matthew Reynolds, I think. And, you know, how'd you get hooked up with him? And, you know, I love the style that he did. Really stylistic. And so then your standard just, you know, regular drawing. Really cool layouts a lot of times. And so, you know, how did you get hooked up with him and, you know, get him to do this for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really the big question, especially for independent comics, is how do you get good artists?
Exactly. I mean, that was like my next question is, I mean, it's just like, how does a writer who has, you know, such a good story get to find a good artist when, you know, it's quite a commitment, you know?
It is, and Matthew I mean, you talk about the artwork he did, and I wish we could, and maybe we can put some pages.
Oh,
up
we'll be putting a bunch of pages up, tons, yeah.
But you know, his artwork was so unique, and in fact, just to preface this, I was actually at a signing this weekend for Free Comic Book Day, which was a blast.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, Avengers plus Free Comic Book Day equals a new national holiday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I got it. We got our new national holiday.
Should do that every year.
Yeah, exactly. And I had readers come in who had never, sometimes, you know, probably even never even read a comic before, and they were looking at Matthew's artwork and just were blown away at the way he was able to create, you know, dimension with black and white art. And it was cool, and he did a fantastic job. That was really his own style that he wanted to bring to the table, which we encouraged him to do.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's really, and for me, that's one of the big ways of attracting an artist is encouraging them to do the best that they want to do, whatever that is, you know. Comics is a collaborative effort. You know, Alan Moore may have the ability to control every pixel on a page. I don't want to do that. I don't know if I could do it if I wanted to. I don't know if anyone would listen to me either, quite honestly. Yeah. But I want people coming in there, whether it's the penciler, the inker, the colorist, or the grayscaler in this case, a letterer. I want them coming in and bringing their own art and own vision, and us to collaborate and do something great together. And that's, I think, one of the ways that you attract people is by literally just showing them the respect for the art and their abilities that they can do. Secondly, the biggest factor in all this was Dario Carrasco, you know, the co-creator. He acted not only as artist and co-creator, but also as art director on this project. His ability to get talent, his ability to find talent, his ability to give notes to artists when they're working is phenomenal. And his talent is, I'm so lucky to have worked with him on this and some other projects.
Well, that's awesome. I'm just great to hear, because, you know, it is such a stylistic book, and to hear that, you know, a writer who, you know, writers can sometimes want to be in control of, you know, what's going on, letting, you know, the style come out. And I think that really helps, because as I read, you know, I don't know, more comics and, you know, just mature as a reader, I think, I do tend to think that, you know, if an art is, you know, not as on par as with the writing, it is harder to get through that book. Whereas before, I did really kind of just look at writing, you know, as, even if there was still bad art, if it served the story okay, you know, I could still really think it was a great comic. Where these days, I just think it, you know, I just feel like it has to have that something that's different and special and its own and it's unique. And I mean, Marlow totally had that, especially with black and white. I mean, was there a conscious choice to do black and white, or, you know?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We certainly didn't want to have. We wanted the coloring to have a certain mood to it. You know, we wanted this to be. We weren't telling a noir story, but we wanted that look and feel in it. You know what I mean? We wanted it to kind of be, there wanted to be undertones of something very dark behind what we saw. And that we thought would help create the world that we wanted to create. So we did talk initially about colors, using some secondary palettes, some color tones that were darker in nature. And ultimately we just said, you know, why don't we do some good black and whites, do some good grayscales. And it actually, I think honestly, when it came down to things like the zombie action, when there was a lot of the violence with some of the zombies, and especially with the pirate scenes too, I thought it worked really well, because I thought you could move, I think the eye moves quicker with black and white. I think you're able to get to panel much faster than if there's like massive details in the colors. Yeah. And I think it can be a bit distracting. So I think from an action standpoint, I think the black and white worked well. We actually did have one note to do the book in color, and then do the violent scenes in black and white. And I think that would have been the only option. I think that would have worked, and had we decided to go the color route, we probably would have chosen that, because I think we wanted the action scenes to be fast and to be real punchy. And I think the way the black and whites worked, that would have been the option. But the coloring had to serve the story, and we felt the black and white and the grayscales did it just fine. You know.
Yeah. Oh, they totally did. I mean, I think it almost had more impact just being all black and white, and just in the storytelling sense, and just for overall just kind of the mood of the whole entire book. So I thought it was a great choice. You know,
can I ask you a question real fast?
Oh yeah, totally.
So you were saying before that you felt that as long as the writing was good and the artwork was okay, you were good with the comic book, right?
Exactly. I could always say, I could tell people this is a really good comic.
What? So did something change your mind, or was there an experience you had where you're like, well, maybe that's not so much?
Well, it just after, you know, I guess after seeing little details of, you know, shortcuts that artists can take, and different things that, you know, an artist can take this, you know, different, you know, the easy way out almost in different scenes, how they're going to present them, instead of really trying to drive and create the you know, the really artistic approach or their own approach to it. Whereas, you know, I understand it's time issue. I mean, you got to get those pages out and stuff like that too. So I mean, I do understand it is the nature of the beast. But when you see an artist that really, I feel like it can do their own thing and is able to let loose, then you're able to, you know, see the story come together so much better. Whereas now when I see it, just, you know, it could be a really good writing, but if you don't have that art there, it is a visual medium, and as more I become mature into comics and, you know, see all the different kinds of, you know, art that's out there, I have to feel that these have to start blending together, or, you know, there is a missing link or something special that makes me want to read the next one or see what else they can bring up. And, you know, I just think as I've read more comics, that has changed. There hasn't been any specific thing, just, you know, slowly reading, you know, thousands of comics.
Exactly. Slowly.
You know, and I think overall, and so when you do see something that's different, I mean, I love creator-owned work anyway. And so I always kind of go into that with almost a more positive attitude. And then a lot of times I am disappointed. There is a lot of things out there. And then so when you're not disappointed and you see that, like, you feel like the creator and the artist can work really well together, or they let each other, you know, give and take for the story, you can totally tell in the overall product. And I just thought it was really cool that this story was so stylistic, still black and white, and still really, really great art. So yeah, and amazing writing as well. Of course, I mean, that's, you can't.
I was waiting for it.
Right. No, I mean, you know, it just.
No, thanks. We really appreciate it. We put a lot of Dario and I worked. I mean, really, the first script was done in 2006.
Yeah. Oh man. So
we
yeah,
put a lot
6
of
years
time
ago.
into this. I mean, obviously, it hasn't been every day, but when you look at the overall scope of what we've accomplished, it wasn't like. I mean, independent writers do not have the resources that Marvel and DC have. You don't just don't throw a plot line out, get it mapped out, and then out the door in 30 days. That's a dream. You know? That doesn't happen. So, but that's why we really appreciate it when people take the time to read it. I'll be frank with you. I've read some criticism on the book that sometimes is mixed. But you know what? If the critic shows that they've actually read the book and understand the book and what we're doing, I'll take it. You know, it's like, that's fantastic. Thank you for at least trying to understand what we were trying to accomplish with that. But overall, the criticism's been very positive. I mean, to get, you know, for our first book to come out and for us to have Ain't It Cool News say, you need to read this.
Oh, exactly.
That's like phenomenal.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You know?
I mean, that's a huge, you know, site, and that's a glowing review.
And to be on the same show that Sam Humphries is on.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's right.
That's huge.
He's our man. Our Love Is Real started us out with him, and ever since then he just came out with a new Boom title, I think, today, and so I just picked that up. So yeah, he's a fan favorite in our house. Yeah.
I'm trying to get that Sioux Falls mojo going. So
that's right.
You know, I can take that, take what happened with Sam. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you know, question just like, how did you get into comics, and why? You know, why choose comics? If you're a writer, I'm sure you'd like to write other things. And you know, why choose comics? Why get into it? And how also? How did you?
Yeah.
Get into
well, I mean, honestly, when you look at a story like Marlow, my decision to go to comics goes back before Marlow. But when you look at a story like Marlow, I don't think that story works as a novel in Barnes and Noble. I think you need the reader set and the readers that comics offers, because comic readers number one, they're smart, they're thoughtful, they're engaging, they're opinionated, which is good. Sometimes they have bad taste, but for the most part they don't, right?
There's plenty that do, though.
Yeah.
Look at the sales of the top books, but anyway.
Yeah, I've been to Comic-Con several times. But in terms of the openness of the reader and the openness of the community to take a chance with books like Marlow, you don't get that a lot of other places. And so I know that comics will always be a home for me, especially when I'm writing stories I'm deeply passionate about and I want to do something special with. You are right, I do other writing. I've written poetry, I've written essays, but comics are always a place that I'm thinking about. It's a difficult art form to master from a writing standpoint. I'm still learning, but it's worth it. It's a powerful medium, and I think it deserves a lot more attention. I think the ability to capture literary elements and imagery, I think the ability to capture the timing that exists with comics and using themes and ideas that resonate across time, I think it's a powerful medium, and I'm looking forward to continue writing in it.
Yeah, and I'll definitely be looking forward to anything that you continue to do in the future, which brings us into our next question. What else can we look forward to seeing you out there besides Marlow?
Well, we are hoping to actually do an additional Marlow book, but
awesome.
we'll table that for a minute. I am actually writing a story called Kid Lightspeed and the Neutron Women, which is a sci-fi babes and ray guns action comedy. It's not a parody, it's a comedy. It's this coming-of-age tale. I actually wrote it after Marlow because Marlow was such a dark story. I'm like, screw it. It's going to be fun. Babes, interstellar battle. Let's just do that, right? And that's actually being published. It's being serialized through Digital Webbing Presents. Digital Webbing is an independent publisher. They have an electronic anthology that is out. We're serializing the graphic novel through the anthology, so you get kind of like a piece at a time, a chapter at a time. And then when we're done with that, we're going to wrap it up, put it into a book, and sell it that way. So I'm looking forward to that. The coloring for the third chapter, or the third book, is completed. There's a total of 4 books. Oh, wow. It's a 90-page graphic novel. There's some great artwork. I don't know if you know Francesco, the cover artist. He did the artwork for the new Axe body spray commercials, the Axe Anarchy ads.
Yep. He
did the cover art. The art is fantastic. I'll share some of that with you all. I'll forward you guys over some of the PDF versions of the anthology. Great stories overall. The creators overall are great. But I'm working on that. I just actually started a screenplay right now as well, which is fun. Having a good time with that. And I just got a lot of stuff going on. So, but from a comics perspective, definitely Kid Lightspeed and the Neutron Women. Check that out.
Heck yeah, awesome. Sounds fun. I'm glad to see that you got more stuff coming out. We can't wait to check it out. Obviously, I have been kind of picking your brain for a little bit. I guess I don't know, Johnny. You got any? Got some questions? I better honestly, let you speak a little bit.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm used to the silent role on this show.
Okay, give me a break. Give me a break.
By the way, that's a sweet Iron Man costume you got, man. I like that.
Well, the one thing I was you touched on it a little bit earlier, but just kind of, it was in that article, and you basically quoted yourself earlier when you were talking to Tom, but just kind of what's the appeal of zombies? It's kind of how we are as a people these days, and I went to school for more societal things, and I'm more of the talkity talk. He's more of the nuts and bolts. So I kind of I don't know, that really caught my attention a little bit, and you touched on it a little bit, and I couldn't stop reading what you sent us. I was just like, this is cool. This is and I just I got a charge out of it. I guess you touched on it earlier, of course, but just with how we are as a generation these days, I suppose. Do you think that we are kind of dead on the inside a little bit, or?
Yes.
Every time you log into Facebook, you die just a little bit more.
No. There's a quote. At the end of the fest, where Marlow sort of had that revelation. He says, we consume everything in our paths and kill others to make them like ourselves. This is what we're doing, We do that. That's what we do.
Totally.
Does it mean that's all we do? Does it mean that's what we essentially are? I don't know. I don't know about that, but I think it's something that we might fear that we become. You know, I think it's a part of who we are that we maybe don't want to be, and that's part of the story. You know.
Yeah.
And it all does work out. Oops, you got me?
Yeah.
Okay, it all does work out for Marlow in the end. So it's not. Oh, did I just give that away? Don't forget that. It might not.
It might not.
Spoiler.
You already spoiled it when you said there was a Marlow 2.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm actually stuck like this.
Oh.
Okay. So, you know, there are. I think the point is that there are ways for us to address that in our life about, you know.
Sure.
I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get too deep here. But is that what you felt when you read it? Was that something that was? I mean, is this something that you're like, gosh, maybe we are like that? Was that?
I think John just feels that way all the time anyway.
Oh, yeah, this is how he talks to me. Wow. No, I actually read the article first, you know, because I read the content in the email, you know, and so I had that on my brain, you know, and I was like looking for it, you know, like so I went into it looking for it, and a reader, you know, obviously not everyone's going to read the news article before, you know, they read Marlow, but I'm kind of glad I did, you know. Yeah. I like looking for symbolism, stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, I didn't even read the news article at all. I just read the book.
I like the article.
So yes, I'm sorry. Maybe
I hope you don't have to read the article, but I mean I don't think you need to, but it certainly should add to it. I would hope so.
Yeah. So now I have to go back and do it. Okay, you guys busted me. I didn't do all my homework. Okay.
You got homework.
This guy.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you know, how did you get in touch with this publisher? Was that part of the co-creator that did this, or I mean? You know, there's lots of different publishers out there. There's lots of different ways to get it out. You know, did you guys go pitching around, or is that something that you did, or he did, or how did that kind of work? Getting actually the book published.
Yeah, it's funny that the life of the book was pretty interesting, because I don't know if you guys remember Alias Enterprises. They did a book. Okay, this is back during 2006, 2008. There was a ton of indie publishers out there. And we actually had the book set up with them originally. And they did this big book called Lions, Tigers, and Bears, which was a pretty popular book that came out a few years ago. And they ended up going all Christian in their books. And we're like, well, okay. I mean, that's great, but I don't know if Marlow really fits with that. And at the time, we were just planning on doing these annual one-shots and then collect them over a few years and selling them as a book. And so we just said, well, maybe we should just go ahead and part ways, and congratulations. And Dario, again, who's the man, I feel like I should be this guy's agent or something. Look at Dario, he's phenomenal, but don't. Knew Sean at Arcana, and we had the discussion, and we got set there, and it's worked very well ever since. So, yeah, Dario was a bit. I'm nobody. I mean, I'm like, I'm nobody. I mean, if you look at Dario's experience with Dark Horse, Star Wars, with Captain America, and all the work he did in the 90s, I'm nobody, and it was him, and he deserves a lot of credit for the success of the book.
Well, cool. I was also just to kind of pick your brain. I mean, there's, like I said, there's a lot of genres into this. You know, sci-fi, horror, noir.
Yeah.
You know, what are some of your biggest influences that you know in your work, or also just in comics, or in prose, and in your life? What are the influence you in your work? What other
I would say there's two main influences in all my work. The first are ancient Greek tragedies.
Sure.
Which is something I studied a lot in college. I designed Marlow as sort of this tragic figure, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And the second, and this, by the way, this whenever I'm writing kind of dramatically, I'm always thinking of those set of stories. And then I say the second would be 19th century British science fiction. So War of the Worlds, Heart of Darkness isn't actually in there, but that set of literature, I think, is so relevant to what's happening to us right now that it's not the same thing, like I said before, but I think it's something good to reflect on when you're doing your writing, when you're looking at plots, when you're looking at changes of consciousness. when you're looking at someone going from one world into another, and then understanding what that other world is bringing to the table. I think those are two very good sets of literature to look at, and those are the ones I primarily study when I'm writing.
Cool. So, yeah. So did you go to John Carter then and be happy or disappointed? Because I guess that's that era,
I know.
Sci-fi right in that.
I have to say, I did not go to the movie theater to watch John Carter. I wish I had, though. I mean, it looked good.
Yeah.
But
I'm just wondering, I'm sure, that's a kind of Burroughs kind of,
yeah,
his genre. So
you can't. I just don't. It's like you can't name a science fiction film John Carter and expect. It's like naming it. Like what does he do? Shoot boring out of his ray guns? I don't get what he does.
John Carter. No, who's John Carter?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying.
No, I got you.
It's not very. Well, I'm sure it's a great movie. It wasn't a very good marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Warlord of Mars would have worked just fine.
But Avengers was awesome.
It was. We went.
Seriously, bravo! They had a great story. They had great characters. I mean, great job. Loved it.
I agree. Totally. Well, yeah. John, anything else that you wanted to ask for him here?
Oh man, we just appreciate you hopping on the show. You're our first Skype interview, our first guest outside of South Dakota. It's kind of exciting. I dig it.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, and we appreciate it. And we'll be looking for everything else in the future. Got anything else that you want to say to our viewers or anything?
No, thanks for listening. And when I'm back for the next family reunion, I'll just drop by and
there you go.
I'll bring the South Dakota Nelsons in, and we'll chat.
Exactly.
No, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for taking a look and for the nice review. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks.
Have a good one.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Well, there we go. That was our first interview. When we had a few technical issues, I'm sure you guys will get through it, though. Skyler will work his magic in the editing room. But anyway, that's Aaron Nelson. He wrote Marlow, a book that just came out. Diamond has it for ordering, so ask your retailer for it and check it out. There's previews online. It's a really good, really good book that blends a lot of different things. Thanks for Celeste for hooking up the interview. We do appreciate it. And thanks again for coming and watching.
Definitely.
Yeah. But always check us out. You want to let us go here, John?
Definitely. All right. Well, we'll see you next week for sure.
Keep it comics.